Welcome to Reel to Reel. In this Men's Network Bible study, we're going to talk about the similarities between fishing and life. Things like the lures a fisherman uses to catch fish and the lures that the devil uses to catch us. How every man can relate to the disappointment of the one that got away, whether or not you've ever dropped a line in the water. Joining us are three champion fishermen from our annual Men's Network Fishing Tournament. Joel Bretcher, a sales manager from New Palestine, Indiana. Chris Hansel, a Lutheran school teacher from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And Jake Oberhoy, a physician's assistant from Delta, Colorado. Also joining us, my longtime friend and fishing buddy, Reverend Jim River. And me? I'm Bruce Wordeman, the Executive Director of Lutheran Hour Ministries. Now, let's head on over to the lodge and get started. If you're a fisherman, you know what it's like to get to the lake, get your tackle, and start fishing. It's like everything else in the world stops, goes away. It becomes a freeze frame. That's the real part of our title, the world of fishing. But then when you load up to head home, then you hit that wall of reality called the real world. Here in the real world, what do you guys think it means to be successful?
Well, I tell you, Bruce, that's changed for me as I've gotten older, I think. Obviously, when I was young, I thought I wanted a fast car and lots of money and, something maybe in the business world that I could hang my name on. As I've gotten older, I found out I want to be a good husband and I want to be a good father to my sons. Sorry. Kind of make me break up.
It's all right.
And I think that's you start to find out what's really important in life.
Well, the world looks at how much money you make, how big a house you live in, how expensive your car is, and they say that's what is successful. And people tend to look at me kind of funny as a church worker. You don't make a whole lot of money. It's not a whole lot of prestige. And what is being successful is sharing the gospel with students in my classroom every day, and going home and living my life as a Christian, and sharing that love of Jesus with my family.
For myself, I look at it and what I can do as a physician assistant to make myself better. I want to be the best I can for my patients so that they trust me, and I want to be the best husband I can to my wife Janelle, and someday if we have the opportunity to have kids, I want to be the best father possible, and that's success for me.
I think one of the more interesting fish stories in the New Testament took place after Jesus rose from the dead. He'd appeared to his disciples twice already. Sometime after that, Peter and 6 other disciples had gone to the Sea of Galilee where Jesus said he would meet them. At some point, Peter, probably like we have so many times, said, "I'm going fishing." The other disciples said, "We'll go with you." They fished all night and caught nothing. Now, they weren't fishing like we are. They used nets, not lures. And still, they caught nothing. Jesus appeared to them standing on the shore and said, "Friends, have you any fish?" And they said no. Jesus told them to drop their nets on the other side of the boat. When they did, their nets were instantly filled. Now, what I find fascinating about this is that John found it important to include this information. And I quote, "The net was full of large fish, 153, but even with so many, the net was not torn." Now, first of all, I want to know who counted those fish. Secondly, that must have been a significant number. 153 fish must have been really something. It must have been so many that the nets usually would have torn. They wouldn't have held that many fish. When it comes to success, I think too often we want to take the credit and forget that God is the one saying, "Drop your nets on the other side of the boat." I know we have a lot more to talk about, but let's take a break so you guys out there can talk. You can go to the discussion guide, and when we come back, we'll talk about the ones that got away.
I hate to ask somebody, but will you reach in my pocket, grab my phone, and
Not me. 3, 2.